Happy welcome back to the More YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day, and there's some testing times happening at Newcastle United, or testing times as we call it. I do love a bit of pun-tastic. Whether Mark gets them or not, if he's watching this, remains to be seen. But anyway, there's loads of stuff going on at Newcastle United. Craig Hope has put an article out which has basically covered a lot of the stuff that's going on at Newcastle United. The big story, the headline really is Kieran Trippier. It doesn't surprise me in the slightest. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't think Kieran Trippier is a Newcastle player by the end of this window. I think it's been brewing for a while now, whether you believe the stuff off the pitch or not, but no smoke without fire, to be fair. There's a lot being said about Kieran's off-field life. I'm not going to get into that because it's not really my place to talk about it. I don't want to be stirring the shit, but there's obviously something not right back there. But anyway, going back to the football side of it, Kieran Trippier apparently was only told, I think, very short notice that he wasn't going to be starting against Southampton, and also that the captaincy was being taken off of him and given to Bruno Guimaraes. He's understandably upset about this, and this is one of the big driving reasons to why he wants to leave the football club. So there is still apparently some chance that he may stay because Eddie Howe wants to keep him. But I think you'd have to convince Kieran Trippier he's probably going to start more games than he probably will. Now, there's two ways to look at this. Kieran Trippier has been phenomenal for Newcastle United. Before anybody jumps in the comments and starts wetting their pants, and can't believe the disrespect for Kieran Trippier. I don't disrespect Kieran Trippier at all. I think he's a sensational footballer. Took a huge gamble to come with relegation, threatened side. A brilliant player. Arguably goes down as the best right back in Newcastle's history. Sorry, Steve Watson. I love the throw-ins. But, you know, he's done amazing since he's been here. But last season, we did see some signs of his legs going in terms of getting caught for pace, some questionable decisions. You know, the header against Chelsea stands out to me in the Carabao Cup. You know, there was issues where Kieran Trippier did drop some serious clangers, and it happens in age. You know, players can't stay at the top level forever. Even some of the best players we've ever seen, you know, there's a dance of the world, you know, the Henrys, the R9s, you know, Steven Gerrard, I remember him losing his pace and slipping, you know, in that big moment for Liverpool. So it happens to the best of players, and I think it's happening to Kieran. And when you've got a young player like Tino Livramento, who's come in and done what he's done, you can't keep him on the bench forever either. So you've got a decision to make. That's not an easy one for Eddie to make. And there seems to be some clubs interested in Kieran, rightly so, because he still has a lot to offer as a player. Everton seems to be the big name right now. Now, if you believe the stuff off the pitch, that would probably make sense. If, you know, Kieran's family are heading back to the northwest and he wants to be nearby them, the Everton move may make sense. So that's one to watch. I can see Kieran going, certainly staying in the Premier League. Apparently he doesn't want to go back to London again, you know, get 2 and 2 together and make 4 with that one. And Galatasaray are interested, but I don't think he'll go abroad. I think he'll stay in England for that. But how long's Kieran really got left at the top level? You've got to ask yourself that. A season, 2 seasons? You know, then he's probably going to be retired. I think he will be a coach because he's that type of player, and he's been phenomenal for Newcastle. But if he's happy to stay here and be a bit part player, you know, and see out the end of his contract, he's got a year left, then okay. But I think Newcastle will probably end up letting the player leave. He'll maybe go on loan somewhere, get his wages off the books or something like that. But I don't think Kieran will be a Newcastle United player at the end of this window, and he'll go with everyone's well wishes. He's been a phenomenal servant in his short spell at the club. He was the signing that made it all happen, the first one over the line. Huge gamble to come to Newcastle. Loads of people asked what the hell he was playing at, and he's been brilliant for us, and he'll never be short of a pint in Newcastle. But I think the time is probably right for Kieran to move on, you know, for footballing reasons, but if it's non-football reasons as well, I totally understand that. I'm a husband and a father myself, you know, and your family's more important than anything, even the club you play for. So I hope this could all get sorted out. I hope it doesn't turn ugly, and I hope Kieran doesn't have any issues and, you know, and sully his relationship with the fans. I don't think he will, because I think we kind of understand it. We see it for what it is, and I'm sure this will all come to, you know, fruition anyway in the next few days of the window. Now, the other story, again, it's the Groundhog Day that is Marc Guehi. So it sounds like Newcastle are very confident they'll get the deal done for Marc Guehi. You know, 70 million quid, I think, is being quoted, which I still think is ridiculous for a centre half, to be honest with you. I think Palace have had our pants down, spanked our arse raw on that one. But we need that player in. He's the top target. But the worrying thing is, even if Guehi comes in, it's looking very, very unlikely, according to Craig Hope, that we are going to get a right wing. And he poured cold water on the Madueke links that have been surfacing online. It could just be ITKs, to be fair, throwing that out there. I did laugh. Somebody put a post up and said the ITKs have claimed that Guehi was on a flight in Newcastle only for an appear on Sky Sports at Palace's training ground. So that just tells you about how much is that shit that you need to know. We don't do ITKs. We just talk about what's in the media, like what Craig Hope's talking about. But the right winger scenario is a real clanger for the club, I think, if they don't get a player in for the right-hand side, especially after letting Minter go. I know a lot of you'll wet your pants in the comments and say, well, Minter never played for us, Chris. How do you... The kid looks brilliant. He was the answer to the right-wing problem. We should have got rid of Miggy Almiron. We shouldn't have got rid of Minter. and we're going to regret that. And he's going to be brilliant for Brighton this season. And if we don't sign a good right winger, it's only going to put more of a microscope on that decision. And a lot of people more clued up about football than me will be asking the question why, and the club will better answer that question why. So moving on to the next part of this situation, and it's about the wide players again, and Harvey Barnes apparently is a bit upset. Now, I hope this is just a storm in a teacup, but the fact that it snuck out into the media concerns me a little bit. It's a little throwback to the whole Matt Ritchie scenario when Steve Bruce was here. If there's unrest already brewing in amongst the squad, I'm a little bit concerned about that. I get Harvey Barnes being a bit annoyed. He's coming to the football club, 38 million quid or wherever he was, had a really unlucky season last season. Injury kept him out for the majority of the season. But when the kid plays, he's gravy. He's goals, he's creativity. He changes games. But I think Eddie Howe has suddenly viewed him as an impact sub that can pull us out the shit when things are going wrong. And that's not what Harvey Barnes wants to be. Now, he looked good in pre-season. He played 5 games in pre-season, scored 3 goals or something like that. Anthony Gordon come back really, really late. Looked leggy at the weekend. We all started asking whether he's actually, got his head turned or something like that. So Harvey Barnes can probably feel a little bit justified to be pissed off that he wasn't starting on the weekend against Southampton when he played the full pre-season, was in the goals, was in the assists, and he was riding the bench. Now, Jacob Murphy's a lovely lad, and I think the whole charisma and persona of Jacob Murphy has overshadowed the fact that he's not a great player. He's a decent player and he has improved, there's no doubt about that. But if I'm Harvey Barnes, I want to be starting ahead of Jacob Murphy. Harvey Barnes is a better footballer than Jacob Murphy. Now, whether you put Barnes on the right or you shift Gordon to the right and you play Barnes on the left, the front three really, if they're all fit and available with the squad that we have currently, should be Isak, Gordon and Barnes. They're the best front three that we have available, hands down. Jacob Murphy, all this lovely lad stuff and, giving it for the team and, and all that stuff. And he's a brilliant lad. He's a great lad. He's a great squad player. But he should not be starting ahead of Harvey Barnes. So I understand why Barnes is a little bit pissed. And the fact that it snuck out in the media, I think there's a bit more to this than just a throwaway comment. Now, Eddie's obviously tried to do something to bring the families together. He had a barbecue, I think, at the training complex, which is great. It shows you Eddie's man management skills. But his man management skills are going to be put to the test here with these 2 players in the shape of Kieran Trippier and Harvey Barnes. Can Eddie, sort this out? He's good for dealing with stuff when it's all going well. But this is the first time probably in his Newcastle tenure where things have gone wrong. And he had a bit of a set to with Gordon. His first season, he sorted that out quite quickly. But he's never really had to deal with stuff going wrong where players are pissed off until now, because we've been riding the crest of this wave of positivity. So this would be interesting to see how he deals with the Barnes situation. If Barnes starts against Bournemouth, maybe Eddie's thought, I need to keep him sweet and keep him in the team or whatever. But who does he start him ahead of? Does he drop Gordon or does he drop Murphy? For me, the front three, like I said, has to be those 3. The notorious BIG, as Craig called them. They're the best front 3. There's goals in there, there's creativity in there, there's assists in there, there's pace in there, there's skill in there. You have to start that front 3. Murphy's a brilliant player. You can bring him on, he'll run all day and he'll give it everything he can for the team, but he shouldn't be starting ahead of someone like Harvey Barnes, in my opinion. So Eddie's got a big situation to sort there before that becomes something more difficult than it needs to be. But going back to the whole situation, it looks like Marc Guehi may get done. One signing to me isn't good enough. I'm going to wait till the window's finished and I'll give you my honest opinion about it. And it won't be a particularly flattering one. And Darren Eales can smile and sing karaoke till he's blue in the face. But if we end up with just a centre-half signing and no right winger, and we've got rid of this talented young kid, he's got some explaining to do. And no amount of spin is going to convince some fans that the right decision has been made. But let us know in the comments below what you think about the recent events. Do you think it's time for Trippier to go? What do you think about Barnes being upset? Is he justified? Or do you think he should just knuckle down and get on with it? And obviously the whole situation with the transfers, where you at with it? I'm fed up with this window. I can't wait for it to shut. I want Guehi through the door. We need him. We're so light in that area. But we could do with a right winger as well in Newcastle. You've dragged your heels all summer, fucked about, sorted out the upstairs, not really sorted the playing stuff out quick enough. I think we're going to be short in that area. I just hope that all these star players can stay fit for the majority of the season, with Tonali coming back, with Joe Willock hopefully staying fit, Botman coming back into the team, and then we'll be in good shape for this top 4 push, because it's going to be really hard this season. All of the teams have strengthened and it's not going to be an easy task to get in that top 4 and get back to Champions League, which is where I think this club needs to be. If this is the kind of thing you like, guys, subscribe, help get us over to that 8,500 mark. We're really close. We're about 3 subs away, I think. So 9,000 is the next mark. I've got a great prize for the 9,000k mark, an even better one for 10k. So keep recommending us to family and friends, guys. Really appreciate it. I bumped into a couple of people who recognised me the last few days, which is still weird for me. But thank you very much for the love that you guys would give us there if you're watching. Very, very nice for you to do that. But yeah, if you like this kind of thing, guys, like the video, help the channel grow. We really appreciate all the love to me and Mark. We love doing this, and we'll do it for as long as you guys enjoy it too. Keep it evermore. I'll be back with a match preview and the post-match analysis after the Bournemouth game. Hopefully, Newcastle get back-to-back wins, and we'll put in a better performance than we saw against the other South Coast team the other day. Have a belter. See you later. Cheers.